This is a DSi XL. I'm going to be doing a quick test on it and disassembling it. Now, this was part of a lot that had a language patch error, and I don't think I represented it on here, but I'm pretty sure I fixed that bug. Oh, the screens are busted. Yeah, it looks like I got it. So let me represent that on the paperwork real quick, and then I'll kind of explain it here once. Pencil. What was it? Launcher reinstalled. Okay, so what happened was, I don't exactly know the reason, but it's a little out of my realm to sort of discern what exactly went wrong. This console had Unlaunch installed, custom firmware, and it also had a language patcher. This is a Japanese console. The motherboard that's in here is actually from a different console, but it is still from a Japanese console. What would happen is the language patcher makes two different launchers. It makes an English American launcher, and it retains the original Japanese launcher. Neither of those launchers worked. So the only menu I could access was on launch. If I tried going into the launcher, it spit out an error has occurred. So through trial and error, or through some poking around and talking with a couple smart people, they've advised me to reinstall the original launcher, which would wipe out Unlaunch, and then go into the NAND files itself, but making a backup of the NAND files, opening it up on my PC through a couple different mounting softwares, and actually deleting the language patcher software. And that worked. So they concluded that it's possible that the Unlaunch, or the firmware version on this console, which I think it was a Japanese 1.4.3, had a bug with Unlaunch where it would just sort of crash like this. So I reinstalled the launcher, and as you saw, it booted just fine. So the screens are busted, I already know that. So now I'm more going to be focused on like components, things like shoulder buttons, things like, well, face buttons, maybe even touchscreen. I can recycle this digitizer. What I first need to do is get it apart, because there aren't any screws in the motherboard or in this rear shell. Oh, and also things like the game card slot, headphone jack, just things like that, since I already know the screens are done. Oh hey, I could actually find my guitar pick this time. Let me grab my screws. I'd rather not pinch that wire. I guess I'll keep that nearby. I'm going to need it. Alright, so let me grab my testing protocol sheet. So I'll be running just a series of sort of pass-fail tests. This is the assessment form I use for final assessments on consoles, but since this is nowhere near that, I'm not going to worry about the 4 subjective categories up here. I'm just going to worry about this section down here, which is all of the major systems I think are the most important. First one is motherboard and power board. Essentially, does the console power on and does it make it to the main menu? It didn't before. It does now. So that is something that I can very happily mark off. The next is tactile buttons. Now I'll be doing that with my DS Pico. I have a couple pieces of diagnosing software on there. And I can maybe see if I can make this screen worse. I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter. It's like, I don't even know what happened, but it's sort of corresponding. I wonder if this thing got, like, slammed shut or something, and it just, like, popped both corners. Realistically, it's kind of incredible. Here we go. So, a piece of diagnosing software called Diagnose. I actually don't know how accurately I'll be able to test the touchscreen, because I won't be able to do an input. I won't be able to see if my inputs register down here. But I'll make the assumption that if it's generally okay, this area might be okay as well. I mean, it looks cosmetically fine. Oh, no. I can touch a button down there, so I'm going to assume that's okay. Further testing might not prove that, but for now, I don't just have to base it on what I can determine right now. Face buttons, I'll just sort of press a good handful of times. Face buttons are usually okay. The ones that I want to focus on more are the shoulder buttons. Those tend to be the ones that have problems. Ooh, that one was still caught in the shell, which looks like they are okay. Soft reset. Ooh. Oh, I mean, okay. When I soft resetted, the top screen kind of bloomed out when it was resetting, and that can be kind of a sign that the display is failing. But then I remembered, yeah, this display is already dead. So I'm going to go into this another program to test the touchscreen. Now, again, I just kind of have to sort of just take it as it is and just hope that there's no touchscreen dead zone down there. And what I'm looking for specifically is if I'm running across the edge and there's like this weird like jagged bubble that appears and none of my inputs register down here. Just like all of the inputs are like stuck on this border even though I'm touching over here, but in this case, it's fine. Next is speaker, microphone, and headphone jack. I have... okay, good. I did not miraculously lose my SD card. So I'll be that didn't feel right. That does not feel right at all. That will be a problem for a little bit later. The ejection mechanism in the game card slot does not feel right. So speaker, microphone, headphone jack, I'm going to combo that with an SD card slot test. I have a piece of music loaded up on there, and my best assumption is if the console can read a song and play a song off an SD card, the SD card slot's probably fine. I don't try any write cycles, but I mean, it would be weird if it could read the contents just fine and not write. That would be a very niche scenario. And this is also an opportunity for me to test the volume buttons, because this is sort of like a means of visually representing me turning up or turning down the volume, instead of me just sort of having to guess based on the volume. Which, just fine. So I'll test the microphone. La 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 la! Microphone's just fine. The SD card slot sees my SD card as well as the piece of music I loaded up. I'll play the song, listen to both speakers, plug in my earbuds, listen to both channels. A test I'm gonna do before I forget. Obviously I can't test screen retention, but I do need to check and see if this console can enter and exit sleep without any problems. I'll load up Mario Kart. Put the magnet down in the right spot. Power light's breathing. Nothing on the display, I don't hear anything, and then it's back. So yeah, that's fine. I've had one case where there was something wrong with the little module down there that's sensitive to magnets, and it would just sort of erratically flicker in and out of sleep. Anyway, cameras next. Me. And both cameras work. I don't see any weird artifacting, no discoloring. I mean, it's going to not be the greatest resolution because it's the DSi. Alright, next. The charge port. I got a spider web of cables over here, me testing various power supplies of different consoles. I gotta unbury my little USB tester here. Have my USB tester plugged in. Oh, I won't be able to actually check the system indicator for whether or not it's actually charging. Alright, I'll just take its word for it. But yeah, like that indicator is completely gone. The battery light comes on. Oh. That is kind of flickering on and off here. No, charge port's solid. Could just mean these little prongs just need to be bent up oh so slightly. Alright, that seemed to have done it. So what I'm doing is just jiggling around the charge end to see if this light goes out. Which, after I bent those prongs up just a smidge, and just as I say that, I mean, generally speaking, it's okay. You're not going to be fiddling with the charge port the entire time. But it's more to catch if there's like a broken solder joint on the board, or if the charge port itself is busted. Which, I mean, stays on, pulling 0.5 amps. I think it's good. I can't tell if the system is registering that it's charging, but I have good reason to believe it is. I have two positive confirmations that the console is charging. I just can't tell system-wise. Then the last one I'll feasibly try is the game card slot. Technically, I should check the Wi-Fi systems. I've never heard of a case of a console not being able to connect to Wi-Fi. Aside from people not knowing that you can't connect these things to like 5 gigahertz routers anymore. You have to go through and find a lower powered band, usually off your phone. You can usually do it. So for the game card slot, my exploded pile of game cards over here that I need to find a place for, because I make a tower, it falls over, I swear at it a little, and then it falls over again. So I'm not going to test all of these. I usually I'll save this testing for when I do final console assessments. But what I'll be doing is I'll put the game in, it registers. Then what I'll do is jiggle it from side to side. Ooh, that was weird. I'm triggering the ejection mechanism very easily. Either I'm a little rusty at this, or I triggered it a little earlier than I expected. Yeah, I'm triggering it way too soon. That's interesting. I mean, okay. It sounded weird when I took out my DS Pico. The game card slot feels fine now. Was this the... No, I don't know. I'll have to look at the game card slot. Maybe it just needs a cleaning. I feel like it's triggering the ejection mechanism really soon, but that shouldn't be a problem, I don't think. It's just a little unusual to me. So what I'm doing is I put my fingers on it, I sort of jiggle it from side to side. There's a tiny bit of play in the game card slot until... I'm going to take this out before I forget. Until I go all the way down to the ejection mechanism, which seems to happen a little sooner than I expected, but I mean, you still have to push it a little ways down for it to eject. And then I'll keep going until I bottom out the game card in the game card slot, jiggling it from side to side to see if the game card disappears. It did. I'm bottoming out the game card in the slot, which is a very unrealistic position for the game card to be in when you're playing or moving around with like this thing in your backpack or in your pocket. Because this is beyond the ejection point, so it's a point of no return right here. It's coming out. So as long as it reads all the way up until the ejection point, I'm pretty pleased. And then what I'll do is... Oh, that's a problem. I'll smack it against my open palm. There, that works. I'll smack it against my open palm to see if the game card disappears. This might be a problem. I don't think I can actually do that with this display. I'm gonna have to go quickly. It's a very unusual situation. Excuse me, SpongeBob. You gotta go over there. Oh god, it's gonna... Okay, I can kind of see it. Yeah, I can see the spider webbing of the crack. Like, just something destroyed this. Oh god. Okay, I can kind of see the text, but I might not be able to do this test very viably. If two of my game cards passed, I think I might have to cut it short on that. It's not giving me any indications that... usually the game card slot will betray that it has a problem pretty quickly. And Bejeweled was one of my more picky game cards. Oh, not my little cup of rubbing alcohol. Blah. So, yeah, I'll have to abort that test a little early, but I think it's okay. So, that's mildly amusing. And I didn't quite expect the screen to just sort of just completely break down like that. Like, that was definitely something. My cleaning bin is not near me. Well, it is near me, but it's full of Wii U parts. I have a shoebox full of DSi shells I'll get to cleaning. Probably not today, because my drying area is full of Wii U parts. And my poor Wii U parts are in a state of limbo as their disk drives are a bit complicated. But that is a problem for later me to deal with. But I will get those shells cleaned. The shell's in fairly good shape, all things considered, especially this back piece. Ooh, pretty. Probably doesn't even need a cleaning, but I'll just do it anyway. Sort of a courtesy dip in hot soapy water. make sure I don't launch those springs. Yeah, clean the shoulder buttons. The covers are probably okay. Get that washed as well. This is good. This will go in. Get this pried up with all my new pry tools. Oh, some weird marks on that minus button. It's almost like Sharpie. I don't think I hit this thing with a Sharpie. Huh. Maybe soap and water will take it off. Maybe it won't. This will be my de facto part pile for now until I can get my little box over. Okay. That is all the pieces. Plop, plop. Plop, plop. Let's get all the small screws off. I just wish I would have gotten a bigger pillbox for all these screws. My motherboard and top screen screw pillbox is kind of a capacity. Oh, almost missed one. Yeah, this game card slot is different. So I wasn't crazy. I'll grab an example here once I get it separated. So I wonder if somebody replaced it. If they did a darn good job. If I didn't know it was different, I probably wouldn't have bat an eye at it. Would have completely escaped my notice. Okay, also busted good digi. So this is its game card slot, which, I mean, looks fine. Operated. Held the game card in place. And then here's the game card slot that usually came stock with the DSi XL. So the position of the locking mechanism is in a different spot. There's a very visible spring there, where the spring is more hidden underneath the metal shielding. And there's like this weird clip right there that might be where it locks. I don't know. But I mean, as far as game card slots work, it works, it just feels a little different, which I guess that does fall in line with how third-party parts come. They work, they're just not correct. Or they don't feel right. So, now that I have the motherboard free, let me write on my paperwork that it passed test. Third-party game card slot. Just so future me can look at it, look at the notes and go, oh yeah, that's right. This one's weird. Yeah, this digitizer still looks really good. I mean, it has all my fingerprints and dust on it, but there's no deep scratches, nothing that I can really make out, so I can reuse this digitizer. I was gonna say this thing doesn't need a cleaning, but yes it does. Oh, that's gross. Always the button membranes taking the brunt of that. Grody. These are okay. I don't really like washing those LED diffusers. They're a little delicate. They're prone to breaking. But yeah, this bottom shell really does need a bit of a scrub. Busted. I'm going to spend the next bit of time cleaning up my poor desk mat. So many DSi and Nintendo Wii parts skewed all over the place. Not those tweezers, these tweezers. Hinge mechanism out, and see where the little metal ring falls. Ah, come on. Need you to stick on the top screen. Oh, we're getting there. Come on. There we go. Oh. And feed these ribbon cables into the little canal. I guess it doesn't really matter. Like, I can't really do anything about the LCD display. So, I mean, I might be able to harvest the backlight out. And depending on how daring I am, I may even be able to harvest the ribbon cable. I haven't looked into that, though. But that is a problem for later. Voila! And we are free. Rings out. I'll get the shell kind of put back together. ish, and I think I'll call that good. Get everything in my parts bin and give them a nice cleaning.